Thaddeus Owens.
Time for another edition of Inside Marquette Basketball with the head coach, Shaka Smart. And Shaka, recap at Xavier. Obviously got behind early, but the guys really had a ton of fight in the second half. And I thought the offensive efficiency was really good with some of the shooting down the stretch.
Yeah, we really scored the ball in the second half. And especially NJ and Royce, the way they were attacking, that was as good as we played offensively in quite a while. Got to put 40 minutes together. The way that Xavier started the game, especially shooting the ball from outside, was a little bit of a barrage. And I think for our team, it's a lesson that, hey, you can't hope they miss. You got to make them miss. And they've got a lot of weapons. They've got some guys that we knew could shoot the ball. And I'll tell you what, there were some they made where we had a really good hand up. You got to tip your cap to them. But then you got to ramp up the aggressiveness more. I thought we did a better job in the second half, but still didn't defend quite well enough with the 53 points we scored in the second half to win the game.
Nigel James Jr. going to be the third time that he's the Big East Freshman of the Week. 30 points, 12 assists, first career double-double. And I think, Shaka, he went 13 of 22 from the floor. That's pretty good efficiency. I know stats sometimes can be misleading, but that's incredible.
He had a heck of an offensive game. He's a guy that he just keeps getting better and better. And one of the great things about him is how smart he is. He really, really has a mind for a lot of things, but also for the game. And we watched a bunch of tape the couple of days going into Xavier about different pace, different modes that he can be in. He's obviously often in attack mode, what we call go mode, which is just full speed. But we watched video on different situations and ways that he can kind of toggle in between different modes. And I thought he did a great job of that in the game against Xavier. And, man, he was dangerous in the empty pick and roll with Royce. They really had it going together. NJ finding Royce, NJ scoring himself, NJ getting in the paint, finding other teammates. It's a really good sign for our team if we can keep building on that.
And speaking of Royce, 24 and 10, that's his back-to-back doubles. First time in his career he's done that, and also 2 blocks, and he went 9 of 14 from the floor. So clearly those two, that's a good 1-2 punch, building chemistry and cohesion.
Those guys spend a lot of time together, along with Adrian Stevens and Demarius Owens. That's kind of a group of 4 that they have a routine that they've established over the last several games where they watch video and they talk about the other team the night before games. And it's really become a healthy thing for them to connect around what they need to do out there on the floor and support one another.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Shaka, because, Stevens, as well as Nigel James Jr., Royce Parham, and Demarius, they watch film together. What does that do as far as cohesion, chemistry, building a program going forward?
It's connectivity. That's something that it really doesn't matter, who the team is. You're at your best when the guys really have a connection, genuine love, care, and trust, which is something that if you think back to Stevie and Oso and Tyler and those groups, they really had that. And sometimes you didn't necessarily know what was happening in the huddles, but you knew they were connected. And that's okay. I mean, you gotta kind of give a level of trust to those guys to know what to talk about and know how to impact one another. There's countless stories of that group, and the way that they made each other better. So that's what we're working towards building with Demarius and Royce and NJ and Adrian. Those guys have a mutual respect that's getting more and more. They obviously haven't played with each other for a long time, but with each game they gain more experience together.
And you mentioned it earlier, road mentality, like in the first half, you need to shut them down a little bit more, but they shot the lights out as well. And then the second half, you made things difficult on them. Is this team still kind of learning that mentality?
Yeah, we're learning. I think it really comes down to being able to do it over 40 minutes. I think our guys, if you look at our last several road games, man, there's been some really, really good stretches, whether it's the first half at DePaul being up 8 or 10 at halftime, the way we played against Seton Hall for a great part of the game, the way we played against Butler, it's a 1-point game with 5 minutes left in the game. Villanova, we're up 6 with, I think, 3 minutes left in the game. And the second half against Xavier, obviously you don't want to dig yourself that type of hole on the road, but our guys certainly through stretches have played well enough to win on the road. I think the real lesson is got to put it together for 40 minutes, and you got to step forward as a group. And even if it is the young guys leading the way, it takes what it takes, and that's what we need.
Definitely better shooting, like we talked earlier in the year about offensive flow and things like that, but 36 of 70, 51% from the floor against Xavier. You got to be proud of that they're at least building something offensively as well.
Well, I think our guys have gained a lot of confidence offensively, especially NJ, Royce, Adrian. Those guys offensively are unrecognizable compared to November and early December. If you think back to December, we were really having struggles finishing around the basket, making shots from the outside, free throw shooting. You know, when all three of those areas are struggling, you're not going to put up a very good number. Those three guys have gotten much, much better and much more confident. And it's not surprising in that, you know, they've been dominoes for each other and impacted each other. So, you know, if we can keep moving other guys forward and, you know, get guys like Ben and Chase shooting a little bit better down the stretch, I think it makes us a dangerous team.
Chase Ross, 200 career steals. That is one of the hallmarks of this program. What does that mean to you to have a guy that you can point to say that guy's getting after it and getting in passing lanes?
Well, he's such a great defensive playmaker, and that's something that's been a hallmark of his career. I didn't realize it until we talked about it the other day on the radio show. He's up there right next to Doc Rivers on the all-time steals list, so anytime you're close to an all-time great like that in any category, it's impressive. But Chase is a guy that, you know, we want, again, down the stretch to be a playmaker on both ends of the floor, to be extremely aggressive. It's his senior year, so the mentality you want to have is I'm going to be the most aggressive guy out there on the floor.
Shaka Smart's interview is presented by Wintrust, Wisconsin's bank, the official banking partner of Marquette University. Inside Marquette Basketball is brought to you by Aurora Healthcare, the healthcare choice of Marquette Athletics.
We were behind the 8-ball a little bit the first couple years, but we got better each year, and finally we made it to the tournament. Like, Al McGuire is the foundation, real foundation, but I thought we brought the program back. Right now, I just recently retired from corrections after 25 years, but now I want to give back. I'm working at a alternative school, and I'm a teacher's assistant, but I want to give back to the community. And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to help. Hopefully I can help one kid overcome their circumstances, but it's something that I always wanted to do. Even when I was at Marquette U, I volunteered at schools and did that type of work.
Where Are They Now is brought to you by Aurora Healthcare, the healthcare choice of Marquette Athletics for over 20 years.
Time for more right here on the Inside Marquette Basketball Show with the head coach, Shaka Smart. Shaka, we have some incredible signees coming in, and one guy we got to talk about is Alex Egbuonu. I mean, this guy, 6'7", 220, or you like the dimensions on that.
Well, he's actually 235.
Whoa.
I mean, he is built like a linebacker, but he can really move as well. Just has had a heck of a senior season. I remember watching him last year in his junior year, and I sat there and I watched the game and I said, you know what, offensively, I think he could play for us right now. He has a really good blend of power and skill and also feel for the game. He's a really good passer, he's a really good shooter. He can play different positions offensively. And again, just a unique build. He's so strong and physical. Guys bounce off of him around the basket. So he will be certainly a welcome addition to our program.
For those that don't know, how common is that where somebody is physically ready to play? Like you said, that you could play right now. Like a lot of times guys come in and they have the mental part, or maybe they're somewhat physically there. But that shocked me, Shaka, when you said, like, he's physically ready to play now.
Or a lot of times they have the skill, but they don't have the body. It's different for every guy. You know, we knew with NJ and with Adrian that physically at least they would be able to stand up to a bump at that position in the Big East, and they've shown that they can. We knew with certain other freshmen that come in here, you know, really, really skinny and thin, that it was going to take them some time through the weight room. Todd Smith does a good job, but you know, you can't put 10 pounds on a guy in a week. Right. You know, it just takes time. But Alex is a guy that, man, he just has a physicality about him, but I can't emphasize enough, he can also move. You got to be able to do both in basketball.
Then Ethan Johnston from Queens, New York, his team 20-9, and obviously a little bit different situation with him. Describe him.
He is a tall guard with really good athleticism, really good feel. He had a game recently with 12 assists. Wow. He can really pass the ball. He played on one of the best AAU teams in the country. They actually lost against Chic in the Peach Jam championship game, a team called the Wrens out of New York that was just loaded with really good players. Ethan is a cerebral kid, comes from a great basketball family. He doesn't know how good he can be, and that'll be part of our job, is kind of bringing out of him all the awesome things he has inside him, because he's got some great tools. He's 6'7", he's got great athleticism, he can pass, he can rebound, he can handle the ball. He's someone that can score around the basket. He can really defend when he wants to. He's a guy that's got to keep getting stronger, but he's got a really good body, he's got a really good base, so very excited about him.
And then you've got a guy, Michael Phillips II, who's actually on the team, but he's the youngest guy on your team, skipped high school. He could still be in high school. How about that?
He skipped his senior season. He's 18, by far the youngest guy on our team. And if you think about it, you know, NJ and Adrian, they're having these great freshman years. Those guys are 20. You know, there is a difference when you're 20 versus when you're 18. You know that. Just as a person, you know, before we even talk about going out there on the court. Michael Phillips, I am so excited about his future. He's a worker. He is an uncommon person from the standpoint of his approach towards life and basketball. He has an inner confidence about him that he knows he's good, and he knows he's going to be very, very successful in this game. He also knows that there's a process that he has to follow. I think he's gone in the game and shot the ball well this year. He's gotten better on the defensive end. He has a knack for blocking shots. He does certain things in practice right now that maybe he's not quite ready to do consistently in the game. But I've seen that before from guys. And what that means is it's only a matter of time before they do it consistently in the game. So Michael Phillips, he's got an extremely bright future. He's going to be a terrific Marquette Golden Eagle.
And I like what you said, Shaka, that he's so efficient but also smart about the game. He doesn't force things, it seems like. He lets things come to him. He's very efficient for a younger guy. That's a rare quality, isn't it?
Well, he's extremely conscientious. I learned during the recruiting process with him that he has something that I call competitive discernment, which is you learn what goes into having success on the court competitively. And if you have great discernment like Michael does, you don't need to be told 2, 3, 4, 5, 100 times. You learn it. You know, we show these guys during the recruiting process these really, really powerful images of post-game, post-win hugs between our guys. And I remember sending Michael a picture of Steph Curry and Kevin Durant with a hug, and they had the American flag draped around them after they won in the Olympics. Steph had made some heroic plays down the stretch, and it's just a true appreciation. I think they were down in the game. I sent that to Mike, and he wrote me back. He said, "Yeah, that's exactly the hugs that you're talking about." And I had only showed him that one time, but just he pays attention to what goes into success, and again, that bodes really well for his future.
Inside Marquette Basketball is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
From downtown Milwaukee in Fiserv Forum, we've got Big East basketball in front of a packed house on National Marquette Day inside at Fiserv Forum. The Marquette Golden Eagles and the Butler Bulldogs for the second time this year.
Sorry for yourself. You gotta say
Nigel James! This place is electric! Taken away, Butler's fourth turnover already. Stevens to the cup, no, tip-in is there!
splashed and running on the rotations.
Reeves takes a three. Great start for him. Gets into the paint, good ball movement, open look for Stevens, and he connects on three. Ross, kick out, spot up three, forehand got
We wanted to have a toughness. We wanted to have that, we're putting a chip on our shoulder, and you got no chance to knock that chip off. Because everything we're about, all right, everything we're about is taking care of business for Marquette University, because that toughness meant we looked after each other. And we wanted to have an unselfishness. All right, we had so many guys that were great players, so many guys that were leading scorers. But not only were they unselfish on the floor, they were incredibly great unselfish teammates.
Stevens, kicks, corner, goal, got it! Ross, the dagger! Happy birthday to Chase Ross with the finishing touches!
Shaka, that's always incredible to see National Marquette Day, one of the best atmospheres in the country. And we're not just saying that because we're here and you're a part of the program or whatever. It is unbelievable to watch that sea of blue and gold.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that we won on National Marquette Day because it's a day that, you know, our guys, obviously we have a burning desire to win every game, but they can feel it. We happen to have a bye going into it, so all week they could feel it that, hey, folks want you to win. You know, they want to celebrate with a victory. So I'm glad we could do that. You mentioned the crowd. The fans were awesome. Our students were awesome. I think it's special that Coach Crean could be here because, as I mentioned about him, he deserves as much credit as anyone in Marquette basketball history for creating the in-game fan atmosphere that we currently enjoy.
Tom, you mentioned getting, obviously his name hoisted to the rafters, and Dwayne Wade here. It's always special when he's here. And it's also special that it seems like your team, and you mentioned it, they play well. Your record's pretty good when D. Wade's in the house.
Undefeated. Yeah, he has a special, my daughter would say, aura about him. He just has an energy and a spirit that it's infectious. The guys obviously, know all about his basketball success, but then when they're around him, they just sense a positive energy and they sense that he really wants them to do well. So, having him there was really special. I know it was great, for Coach Crean and all the other players that were part of that era to have D. Wade there. And again, it felt great to be able to win in front of those guys.
And I give you credit, Shaka, because you as the steward of the program now, sometimes it's like, well, let the past be the past, or okay, the former coach, whatever. You embrace this, don't you? You love Tom Crean, you want D. Wade in the house, and you bring back a lot of Marquette players from a lot of different eras.
Well, every year we try to honor a different team. So this year it was actually the very first Big East team for Marquette, 2005, 2006. Hard to believe it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
So actually, on Friday night when we did the reception to honor Coach Crean, we also honored that team. And most of the players from that team were able to come back, obviously leading scorer Steve Novak. And it was really cool having those guys and Coach Crean all together. It's really important to recognize the history of a special program like Marquette basketball. Those guys, going all the way back to Al McGuire and before, they built the program to be what it is. Every day I walk in this building, I see the huge statue of Al. I think about Coach Crean in that 2003 Final Four team, and I think about how grateful I am to be the head coach, the 18th head coach here, and to have the opportunity to push the program forward towards, hopefully going and doing what those guys did in the past.
Inside Marquette Basketball is presented by Pepsi. Thirsty for more.
Final segment here on Inside Marquette Basketball with the head coach, Shaka Smart. And Shaka, I know that campus engagement is huge to you. Student Appreciation Week, it's an incredible thing. Why is it so important to you? Pretty basic question, but why does it mean something?
Well, we're part of a larger community here at Marquette in the city of Milwaukee, but specifically to our campus. I think it's really important for everyone to remember this is still college athletics, you know, and we're part of an institution of higher learning where there's a lot of great things going on beyond athletics. We get a chance to be a part of it. So anytime that we can remind our guys that the connection, the engagement with their fellow students on campus is very, very important, we do so. Anytime I can have the opportunity to be on campus and be around students, it gives me energy. I mean, the Marquette students, of all the places that I've worked, and I've worked at 8 different colleges or universities, they have a special energy about them. They have a friendliness and a way about them where they give positive energy. And so it's great to be around.
You got the Shaka shuttle, you got swipes with Shaka. I mean, you're doing a little bit of everything, and it's cool to see because you do get especially the student community, but you get the community really involved.
Well, again, it's a great community to be part of. I'm biased towards this part of the country, but I just think, you know, you have really good people here that care about one another, care about Marquette. You always learn something. One of the events that's really cool is at the end of each semester, you know, I get to go, you know, with President Ayoun and, you know, some other folks over to the library, and we give out donuts during exams. And, you know, I remember the stress of the exam time. So just get a chance to be around them and maybe a little bit lighter setting, and then ask them how their exams are going, what they have coming up, how the studying's going. It takes me back to the 1990s when I was in college.
And why is it important for the players to be involved with this as well?
Well, in this day and age of college athletics, it's as important as it's ever been, because in a lot of ways, you know, the life that the players tend to lead can be maybe even more isolating than it's been in the past. So we have to make sure that we work against that. And again, we remind our guys that these are fellow students. You know, these are folks that you're in and around every day on campus, in class, in the dorm, you know, different settings. And our guys do a good job of recognizing that. Our guys like having relationships outside of just our team. You know, you want to benefit from being on the campus community. There's a lot of, like I said, really good energy and really good people here that you can learn from and be around. And we've had some really good examples of guys that I think have made the most of those relationships. Stevie Mitchell comes to mind.
Absolutely.
All 4 years, you know, he would just build different relationships with different people. And, you know, you would get emails from professors, or he'd run into a student on campus and he or she would mention Stevie's impact on them. So it's cool when you have guys really embrace that.
Final minute that we have here, Shaka, finishing strong at Fiserv. The crowds have been incredible. You got a couple of ranked opponents coming in down the stretch. I know you don't like to look too far ahead, but how do you stress to the guys, let's finish strong?
Our goal has always been to grow as much as any team in the country so that we could be playing going into the conference tournament as well as we possibly can be playing. And that's still our goal. I mean, we have an opportunity to win some big games. We also have an opportunity to put ourselves in the best possible place when we go to New York to play well. Our guys have been very, very good with our preparation. And then as we go into the games, it's about continuing to become more and more connected around going after 40 consistent minutes. We have some really, really good stretches on the offensive end. We have some really good stretches on the defensive end. The best teams are able to put that together for 40 minutes, and that's how you win.
Shaka, as always, thank you for the time and good luck down the stretch.
Thank you, Lance.
All right, that's another edition of Inside Marquette Basketball.
This has been a presentation from Learfield,